Good morning. Wouldn't say I'm in my best state of mind right now, but wanted to share how I have screwed up in some ways. I I don't know. I'm just frustrated. So I sit down to work this morning in this coffee shop and I'm working on the UI for my software, MVP. And I've had a bit of mixed feelings with this because I want to build a UI because I want to use it via the UI, but I've felt this internal tension and friction in doing that because I know it's going to take longer than if I just set up a newsletter, like simple static website with an email, you know, uh, email box and just, use that as my MVP. And I'm like, but I don't think it's enough. And I envision this with a UI and and so I'm like, okay, I think I can do both. I think I can build a simple UI and then have an added value for, have the user try it and then realize, wow, this is really cool and this is really useful. Oh, look, give me your email and I'll send you these every week. Like, wow, that's like super useful. Sign me up. Like I want both. And so I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. I know I can do it. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take, and that is the line to balance here. So I started working on the UI, and the website tool that I used to build my last site, Comment Compass, commentcompass.co, um, they seem to move to a like subscription model or something. Anyway, I try to access my project, and it redirects to this like product page, and it's like start your free trial of the cloud web builder or whatever. So I'm like, all right, screw this. um, so I'm like, okay, well, I just need a simple HTML builder, drag and drop, export to static HTML, CSS, JavaScript files, like boom boom, easy, super simple, no like complicated content management. um, I don't even need like forms or any, like, just super simple. Just give me something simple, just take the static files, throw it on my server, and like that's it. That's all I need. And so I started building with Framer yesterday. um, I don't know why. I don't know. I think it was just one of the tools that was recommended in my notes. And um, and it was kind of just a quick spike, I guess, because I previewed the website, and I just like Control S saved it, and then linked it up with my app, and it worked. Um, but this morning I was like, okay, like I need a better solution, and why don't I just pay for one of these tools that allows you to export directly to HTML and CSS, so I'm not like violating their terms of service or whatever by you know copying the code directly. So this morning I realized that Framer doesn't even have the feature to export to static like CSS or static HTML files. So that was a bust. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can't use Framer. And the work that I did rebuilding and building this UIs was kind of a waste yesterday. So, okay, well, what do I use? What tool do I use? Um, and I did some research, and the other option that I was looking at was Webflow, and Webflow is like jam packed with features, and I was just like, it's just there's just too much. There's too many features. I don't need to be paying whatever $24, even though it's not that much. It's like I just need static files. I just need HTML, like, and so I'm like, this is so frustrating. But I found this other tool called Web Studio. It's an open source Webflow alternative, and I'm like, oh my god, perfect, literally perfect. It just does bare minimum, and you can export to your export your code. Um, and so I was like, great. So I started building, and I rebuilt the UI using Web Studio. And then I got to the point where I was like, all right, let's export this. Let's link it up with my backend, and I exported it. I followed the process, and their their positioning is more towards like deploying your static or your files using a cloud like provider. So Netlify or Versal, which I've never heard of these things before, doesn't really matter. But I'm like, surely you can, you know, just generate static files that you can serve yourself, right? And so it turns out the code generated has a whole bunch more stuff than just static files. And so at this point, I was like, this is not what I was expecting. ChatGPT was not helpful because it just didn't have enough context, and this tool is like kind of small and new. So I reached this point where I'm like, okay, well, I need to either hack something together in order to take this new Node.js app that I've exported from Web Studio and generate just static files from it, or I need to add a Node.js server to my server. And I'm like, I don't. This is too much complexity. Like, it just needs static files. I just need something to help me build static files. Um, and I just don't want to add this complexity. And eventually I was like, it's just so frustrating. Because I spent all morning doing this. And now I realized that, like, this is not exactly what I wanted and what I envisioned and expected. And so just after 11, I think the one thing that I did do right was I got to this point where I was like, so deep in the rabbit hole. I was just like, I need to stop. I need to stop, take a break, let my brain think about this, just get my mind off of it, and figure out what to do next. And that's what I did. And I came out here and I sat on the lawn under this tree that I was sitting under 2 days ago. Um, so, yeah, there's a learning in here. And I haven't quite parsed it out, but I am proud of closing a laptop and taking a break. I think that has already been helpful. Um, I don't know exactly what I want to do next. Another thing I'm trying to balance is that if I continue down this path of building this, I won't. I will need to. What's the word? Level up, upgrade from static. Like I will eventually need an app with state that I can't do via just static files. And so for some more context, just before I closed my laptop, I was at the point where I was like, maybe this web studio thing is not the right tool. And so then I went back to searching. Basically, I went back mentally, went back to the state that I was at when I started my work session, which was like, okay, what other HTML builders could I be using? With the implication of like just scrapping everything that I just did. And I think that was the like red flag to me that was like, all right, we need to stop, and like you're going down the rabbit hole too much, and you need to stop and take a break. Um, so yeah, I think I will need state eventually. But anyway, um, that's where I'm at. I'm learning lessons the hard way. Um, it was kind of funny that as I was setting this web studio up, the first time I was like, oh, maybe I should try like exporting to code and like seeing what the process is like and if it generates static files like I expect. And I was like, I don't need to do that. I probably should have done that. No, I think I might end up continuing to use this, but we'll see. The other option is just paying for Webflow and just it's like I just need a hammer. I just need a hammer to hammer in some nails. And Webflow is like you're buying a mobile toolkit van, Home Depot on wheels. It's like I just need a hammer. um, so yeah, I want to say there's some lessons in here of like doing research before and like trying out the full tool before sinking time into actually like building it. Like I should have verified that Web Studio does what I want fully. Um, but I don't know. I'm not convinced that I'm trashing Web Studio yet. So anyway, just thought I'd document this. You can't win them all. Maybe I'll build a simple HTML builder software. That was a joke. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I think I'll call it here. Um, the upside is I'm learning. Um, I'm learning, and it's a beautiful day. So, see you tomorrow.